You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Well, what I mean, this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. Happy Thursday, and yes, today we're going to be talking some amazing independent comics right now from Legendary Comics, and it's going to be a legendary tale for sure, because let me tell you, I had the pleasure of reading this book from front to back today. Wepa, I was in it. Woo! As I was telling our guests in the background, there were moments I felt like I was on TV just cursing at it. What are you doing right now? And I just couldn't wait to move forward and see what the hell is developing here. This person we have right here is a wonderful writer of comics and fantasy novels. The book that I'm talking about, again, as I said, it's from Legendary Comics called Science. So it goes out the writer, the one, the only, the legendary Lilah Sturges. How you doing?
Hey Al, I'm doing good. I gotta try to match your energy. I need to amp it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go. That's my little show that I'm going to be bringing back the Al Mega podcast. But it's all about energy because, again, this is what we do. You got a dope story here in the Science of Ghosts from Legendary, with your homie here, Garing. Wow. I read the book, had a lot of fun. So we're going to dig into it a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm going to show you the page. It's from Simon and Shuster as well. You can get a copy from there and Amazon, Barnes and Noble. This book is everywhere, all right? So there's absolutely no excuse for you guys. Again, it's tax season, so don't make no excuses. You can buy some fire book that has so many things going on. So we're going to be digging into it a little bit. Before that, let's reel it back and go way back in time. Lilah, tell us a bit about yourself. Where you originally from, and the first thing you ever fell in love with in fandom.
The first thing I ever fell in love with in fandom? When I was 11 years old, I lived in a tiny little town in West Virginia, and there was nothing to do. And there was one PBS station, and on Sundays they would show reruns of Doctor Who. And that was my gateway into everything. I saw that show and instantly fell in love. I was like, this has everything. It's got time travel. It's got spaceships. It's got it's funny. The characters are fascinating. And that to me was just it. That's what made me fall in love with, science fiction, fantasy, all that stuff.
And where are you originally from?
I was a Navy brat. So I grew up kind of all over the place.
Oh, okay. Okay, I've spoken to so many creators kind of with the same story that they've, been military raised and going all over the place, and that's where you guys, I think, probably get so much damn inspiration from, all those different stories you're able to tell from all the different people from different sides of our wonderful country you've probably been through. Where have you been?
Oh my gosh, I've lived in so many places. Rhode Island, Monterey, California, San Diego, Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia, Texas, all over the place.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and it's true. You get a sense of how different people are and the ways that people are both different and the same, living in different places. And you just get a sense of how big our country is, how big the world is,
Yeah, excellent. So talk about then growing up in your fandom. Did you have a tribe, at all, being that you were, a military brat, as you stated?
I didn't. I was very much sort of on my own being a fan because no one else around me really understood or knew about it. So it was just kind of me. And then when I moved to Texas at age 15 or so, I decided that I was too cool for all that stuff. And I didn't want to be associated with nerdy things. So I didn't talk about it. I didn't really.
Hit it. You hit the nerd side of yourself. Shit. Head down
Did.
on the nerd side.
And I didn't really start talking about it again until college when I met my friend Chris Robertson, and we got really and he was already really into comics, and he got me into comics, and that's how I started reading them.
Okay, cool. What was the first thing that you found in comics then?
The first book that I read that really sort of opened my eyes was Sandman. That
cool. Neil Gaiman
just started coming out when I started college. So I think I started reading around issue 8. And
you got in early. Nice.
Yeah, just got completely hooked. And from there, I wanted to read anything like that. Just the idea that you could tell any kind of story in comics was so fascinating to me. Because up until then, I thought comic books was just like what you could see in the spinner racks. You know, in the
superheroes, right? Silly shit. You didn't know how really deep it could really get, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As a kid, me either. I was going to the shops and seeing superhero shit on the rack. I wasn't picking up slice of life. I was picking up exaggerated shit, based on what was being sold to me in my area, If I had to probably travel a little bit more deep in New York City, in the Ville, in those underground shops, I probably would have found some wonders.
Yeah, probably.
You go to Williamsburg, there's a wonderful shop there. You find some crazy stuff, Lilah. Crazy. From some amazing independent local creators as well. I love it now. I'm really happy I made it to see the growth, at least on the independent side. So about then that creative journey that you're saying you're loving this, you're picking up comics now, So what inspired you? What was the day that inspired you? What inspired you overall to say, okay, I want to pick up a pen and do something?
I never wanted to write comics. I didn't think it was a job that you could get. I just figured, I didn't know who were the people who wrote comics, but I didn't think I could ever be one of those people. I wanted to be a rock star. I was a musician, and I had been in a band, and I moved to California to do music.
Okay. Goes to Cali. What? That's another thing. Holy shit! I swear to God, about probably like 75% of people. I moved to California. I'm like, oh, what's up, man? Is it that easy to get some work out there? What? I mean, what is the story? I think I gotta go to this California vibe to see what the fuck is going on.
There's a lot going on, but what I learned was that I didn't really want to be a working musician because it just seemed like gross. Like you were just in a van with 4 or 5 other people all the time, and just driving and playing shows to maybe nobody. And that just wasn't me at all. So I moved back to Texas, and I tried to figure out, like, what do I want to do instead? And I always thought that writing was kind of cool. So I joined a writing group here in Austin. And that writing group happened to contain Bill Willingham, who is known for writing a comic or two.
Yeah, what? He was in the group?
Yeah.
What? All right. Oh my God. Okay. Go. Keep going.
And that's how I got into writing comics, was just watching him and learning from him.
Dope. So were you aware of who he was prior?
No.
No, okay.
I had no idea. I had sort of stopped reading comics for a while, so I didn't really know what was going on. I've always had kind of a love-hate relationship with comics, where I get like real into them for a while, and then a few years will go by where I don't read anything. So I kind of miss.
You reboot like just like they do. Every 5 years you stop, and then every 5 years you come back.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. All right, so talk about you getting that first opportunity now, and getting a project out there. Was it a difficult task? How did you tackle it? Did you even know what to do?
I had definitely got a lot of great advice from Willingham, and he helped me a lot at first. But then I started getting my own work, writing in the DCU and stuff like that. And
how did you get in there?
I took over. There was a book called Shadow Pact that Bill was working on.
I remember Shadow Pact. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then he just didn't want to do it anymore, and so he asked if I wanted to take it over, and the editor said that would be fine. So
What?
I did, and that was my first DCU book.
What? Oh, nice. That must have been. How did you feel? Getting into the field that way.
Terrified. It was terrifying because, superhero fans are so passionate about their stuff, and they don't like it if you mess with stuff. And my tendency has always been to mess with stuff. Yeah. And so I think that I was never a great match for writing superhero comics because my urge is to always tear things apart and see what makes them tick. And people don't like it when you do that with superheroes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. They want to see the action. They don't want to get too much insight.
I mean, I remember the one of the things that I did was I had written an issue of Blue Beetle where pretty much all that happened was they went to a superhero themed mini golf course, and I thought it was freaking hilarious. And someone asked me, what's going on in Blue Beetle? And I started talking about this superhero themed mini golf course. And Dan DiDio cuts in and he's like, no. The issue is full of action and excitement and fights and lasers and stuff.
Too funny. Yeah, I got to meet him a couple years ago at MegaCon. I want to take a picture of him. He goes, not if you're not in it. All right, but I hate taking these fucking pictures. I like to not take them by yourselves, please. I don't want to be in it. I'm picture shy for some. I could do this shit, but I'm picture shy for some odd reason. All right, but all right. So you did DC. So how was the whole journey then throughout from when you landed DC? What year was this when that happened?
I had my first published comic in 2006. That was
okay, nice.
That was Jack of Fables for Vertigo.
Holy shit. Yeah, you're 18 years, baby. Look at that.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, and I did also House of Mystery for DC, and I did just a bunch of sort of low-level superhero things for DC, and then I did a Thor book for Marvel, and one of my favorite things I got to do was a Doctor Who book for IDW when they had the license.
I bet you must have been excited as fuck then.
I was so excited. Yeah, I had a blast doing that.
All right. So you were just telling me how you like to change things. So what did you do here, or did you respect the lore?
For Doctor Who, they don't let you mess with it too much.
The BBC ain't fucking. They say, hell no, Lilah, don't fuck around.
Yeah, I had 2 pitches for stories, and one of them was really weird and crazy, and the other one was a little more straightforward. And they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this straightforward one." They didn't want to do anything too nuts, which I get, but it would have been fun.
But all right. So talk about you stepping into some indie and doing some projects. I mean, outside of the big 2, because I mean, this project is on Legendary. I mean, what's that journey like? Stepping outside the big 2 and doing other things.
Well, I started to get disillusioned with superhero comics around 2013, 2014, I guess. It's still a ways ago. Where I was just like, I don't feel like I really connect with this stuff that much. I want to do other things. And so for a while, I didn't do anything. And then I got the opportunity to do Lumberjanes, which was something really different for me. I'd never written anything for kids. And I had so much fun doing that. And I got to write 3 original Lumberjanes graphic novels. That was also when I got hooked up with Lev Grossman, and we did the Magicians books. Nice. And so I started doing a lot more, things for Boom, things for Oni. I wrote a Rick and Morty comic in there somewhere. So I've just been having so much fun the last few years, just writing only things that I want to write and not worrying about what some editor thinks should be happening.
Excellent, as you shouldn't. Fuck that shit. It's your stuff.
Yeah.
Make it happen. So talk to me about this baby you got me here, legendary right now, though. A popping story, the science of ghosts. Let me show, so you can see the cover real quick right there. Is the background picture you see right there. The science of ghosts. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So talk to me. Talk to me about this book. Let the fans know from your mouth, from the creator's mouth, what's popping off with this wonderful fire book.
All right. Well, there's a couple things that go into this. One thing is that I love ghost stories. I also really love murder mysteries. And I am a trans woman, and I wanted to have a character who was a trans woman, but it wasn't like all about her being trans. It was just like, that's who she is, but her job is she's a forensic parapsychologist who studies ghosts for a living, right? And that to me was sort of like the genesis of it. It was like, how can I have a character who is like, her identity informs what she does, but it's not all about, it's not like, hey, look, it's transgender time,
No. Let me tell you, that's one of the things I really love about a story. You touched on it. That's who she is. That's it. Story moves on.
Yes.
Moves on. And you do that kind of early on so people just could read the story and see. But we know, and it's not, that's not what the story is about. And that's what's crazy. I mean, yes, that's her identity. But the story moves on from there, and it's dope. I mean, because then you start bringing some crazy shit. And again, as I was saying, those moments I was shouting at the book. I was telling you, I was like, what the fuck? What the? Oh! I'm like, I can't wait to hell what's going on. I was like, oh God, please let me finish before Lilah comes on. I was like, please let me keep reading. Please let me get my time on here. I love this. I was eating it up, not just the words, but the artwork. We dig further into the story. I want to know about the promance. Talk about the team that was built here to put the story before we dig into it.
Yeah. So we originally started with Alitha Martinez as the artist, and she kind of came up with the look and feel of it. And we made the decision to do black and white with tones rather than color, which is something that makes me really happy about the book. It gives it kind of that noir feel, you know?
Fucking 100. 100 agreed. Yes. I love it. I love that's again what kept me kind of I grew up on the black and white shit. So it's like, for me, this is like, thank you. Every time I see this from new creators, I mean, I'm dying to see there's a new film of Crown. It's a horror film out there. It's like it's black and white. It's a modern film. Like, I can't wait to see this shit. I mean, I love this style. It's just, I don't know. It's just, you appreciate the art. Not no disrespect to colorists or anything like that. But I mean, it's just, and you can really focus on the story, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. You can focus on, the form and the visual storytelling. And then there were scheduling issues, and Alitha Martinez had to drop out, which was a real shame. But we brought in Garing to finish the book, and he just did an amazing job. Like he kind of took what she had started and added his own thing to it. And so when you read the book, you really can't tell what parts were done by which artist.
No, it's true. And if you didn't tell me this right now, really, as I was reading, right, there's no crazy transition like when you see a DC book, for example, and
right.
The artist in the middle of the book. What the hell is going on? It is a dream sequence.
Yeah, exactly. No, Al Garing is a wizard. He can draw anything and he makes it look great. So that really makes the book.
But how did you find each other though?
I think what had happened was there was a similar situation where in another book, Al Garing had to come in and save the day because like the original artist dropped out. And
really?
so my editor comes to me and is like, this guy, El Garing, he can draw anything. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And but let's try him out. And his pages were like perfect. So I was like, all right, let's do this. And he was great. He was super awesome to work with.
So El Garing does sound like he comes from Krypton, so maybe buy him a cape. Right? A name like that. Awesome. All right. So tell folks what the story is about overall, though, because again, we got into why is the character? No, it's not the story, but who is this person?
Sure. So the book is about a woman named Joy Ravenna, who is a forensic parapsychologist. And what that means is she studies ghost behavior and she uses it to basically solve crimes. You know, one of the things that I think is really fascinating is like dream logic and, you know, subconscious stuff. And I thought that it would be really interesting if ghosts were real, they would act like they were in kind of a moving through a dream. You know, like they weren't awake, they weren't aware of what was going on. And that was really compelling to me just as a storyteller, you know, sort of telling the story of ghosts through their dreams. And so, but what that means is that someone has to interpret what ghosts say and do. Like, it's not just obvious. Ghosts won't just come out and tell you what they're thinking, right? And so it takes a psychologist to understand what it is that they're saying. And that's what Joy's job is. And so she is approached by this sort of wealthy heiress who's been seeing ghosts in her house. And Joy is very excited about this because the house is a historic house. The book's set in Austin, Texas, which is where I live. It's this historic house in Austin, Texas. And then shortly thereafter, the woman who has sort of hired her ends up getting killed. And one of Joy's best friends is arrested for the crime. And so now Joy has to figure out how to exonerate her best friend while solving this mystery and also dealing with her ex, who is a cop and not a very nice one.
Before we move forward, have you noticed that our backgrounds look the same in regards to the paint job on the wall and the ceiling?
Yeah.
So no, folks, we're not in the same crib, right?
We're not just sitting across from each other.
Yeah, I just realized, like, oh shit. All right, so let me tell you, I'm reading this. I'm thinking back to an old TV show called Ghost Whisperer. I'm seeing like fucking CSI. I'm seeing a whole bunch of cool science fiction and ghost stories. I mean, what were the inspirations like? Because I'm seeing a little things here and there. I mean, pretty cool stuff, bro. I was reading the book. I felt actually again. What's a good story? When you care about the characters, and as the story continues, you care. Like, what the fuck is going on? Again, I was yelling at the book like a TV station. Like, oh man, you know.
Well, I love, and I have always loved police procedurals, like TV shows, novels. Like Michael Connelly is one of my favorite novelists who does, you know, police procedurals, and I love detective stories, any kind of detective story. And so it was basically like, what if someone was like a forensic psychologist? Because I always thought that was a cool job, forensic psychologist, you know? But instead of studying like living people, they studied ghosts. That was kind of where it all sort of came out. Because I love horror and I love ghosts. And so really, I think what you're trying to do as a writer is like take everything that you love and squish it into one thing and see what happens. At least that's what I did for this book. It was just like take a lot of things that I really like and try to make them all happen at the same time.
Oh yeah, because again, you had the horror, you had the scares, you had the detective side, you had again the slice of life, and you know, like the relationship side of how this type of work can affect the relationship. So where does that come from? Because you were really digging into that. And again, I mean, you know, it's wild. I was wild by that too. Because again, that's what made you want to connect with these characters. You were definitely connecting them, and then you get involved in their relationship. You see how close they are. It's a wonderful job again, but not just the writing, but the artistry behind that too, to show show that. It was emoted really well.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite parts of the book is the sort of the love story between Joy and her partner Kat, and the difficulty that her job creates, and also her ambition. You know, Joy is not a perfect person. She is very ambitious, and sometimes that clouds her judgment and makes her forget what's important.
Is Joy inspired by anyone in your life?
I think Joy is a lot of me in a lot of ways. I think it's some of the best parts about me and some of the worst parts about me kind of mixed together.
Okay. But so how did this land with Legendary? How did you guys get there to bring the story about?
Well, when I was working for DC, one of the people that I loved there was a woman named Jan Jones. And a few years ago, Jan became the senior editor at Legendary. And it was basically, she brought me over there and said, hey, you got to come write something for me. And Jan's one of my dearest friends. And when I pitched her this story, she was like, that's it. That's the story. We have to do this. And she was always just really incredibly supportive of me doing this particular story, and worked really hard to make it become real.
Therefore, that's the car right there. You could get this right there. List price $23.99, but you could get this on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books of Money, your favorite bookshop. You know, listen, this is a comic book graphic novel. You should be able to also get this at your little comic shop. You know, make sure to tell them this is what you want right here. The Science of Ghosts by Lilah Sturges, with contributions by Alitha Martinez, illustrated by Garing. Yeah, published by Legendary Comics, distributed with Simon and Shuster. Come on, folks, get it done. This is the book you want. I highly recommend it because, again, it was an own narrative, and like I said, I feel like an old man. I was like, what the screaming at, again, if it makes you feel that you have to talk to a book, and I laughed at myself. I said, why the fuck am I talking to a book? Honestly, hand of God, let me tell you, I did that, and I laughed at myself. Like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, I love where the story is going. Well done, wonderful writer, wonderful. I definitely appreciate what you did here. I can't wait people get this in their hands. I mean, so I need to know, a couple of things before we go. Convention schedule. Are you going to be making any appearances anywhere?
I will be. I think the only convention I'm doing this year is Comic-Con. I'll be at Comic-Con in San Diego. And I know there will be some signings associated with this book, but I don't know what those are yet. The book comes out in the beginning of June.
Yep. Exactly, folks. You're getting a scoop here early, so I'm wanting to show you the cover. But don't you worry. Once Legendary sends over some preview pages, we'll show you and tease you what I'm saying, the beauty of that art, and then and you get caught up in the preview, and then you're gonna want the whole book. I mean, it's a wonderful graphic novel. It kicks absolute ass. I mean, true world building here. Again, it was just wild, a nice wild ride that I was hooked on. I don't get to, again, often I'll stop a book, like, I was like, I can't drop this. I hope I finished. I did. So I was really happy I did. A lot of cool stuff. And even at the end, folks, let me tell you, you're in for an emotional ride. This book.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, again, happy to again, I'm happy to show this one more time right here. Oops, there we go. Boom. Look at that, too. Who did the cover for this one?
Love it.
Do you know who did the cover?
Garing also did the cover.
Oh, okay, but look at that. Look at that. You see, folks? I love it. Yeah. And I love that font, too. Like, everything fits. Like, I really want to see this as some type of flick. This definitely fit a movie role over here. Like, I want to see this in a movie role. I think it would really be a dope hit. So, you hear Hollywood? Original story.
Right.
Yeah, and I know bullshit, and I know hack shit. Some original story from the amazing Lilah Sturges. Now, before we go, in your journey, what would you say is the greatest piece of advice you could give someone else coming up like you did?
Oh my gosh. I think the best piece of advice that I can give to any writer or creator coming up is to find your voice and always speak in your own voice, because who you are, where you come from, what makes you, that's the biggest gift you have to give. And if you're trying to be like someone else, you're just going to be a cut rate version of that person. But if you're trying to be just the best version of yourself that you could possibly be, that's something no one else can do. And that's what sets you apart.
Beautiful words right there. Take inspiration from this amazing creator. If you want to check out what Lilah is doing, all you got to do is check out the website right there at LilahSturges.com. The links are below, all right? Make sure to show the love. As Lilah said, this book is available in June. So that means enough time to pre-order, no bullshit. Again, as I said earlier, it is tax season. Don't give me no bullshit. You want to spend some money? Pre-order this baby right now, because let me tell you, you're going to want it. And then when you go to San Diego as well, if you missed it, be able to scoop it, hopefully at San Diego, and get it signed by the Lilah Sturges on the scene. Get to meet this amazing creator and ask some questions, because let me tell you, inspired by your journey, love the book, love the style. I can't wait to dig into more. I mean, will we get more before we go? Possibly? Can you tease me or what?
Nothing would make me happier than for there to be more. Let's put it that way.
All right, I really want to see more. The character's dope. I like where it's going, and with the way it ended, I really gotta see where the fuck this goes now, because I can imagine when I don't want to spoil shit. Please, folks, let me tell you that. I can't wait till June where I can finally talk about more. It's a great book. If you want to come back in June when it's finally out and bring back Elle, that would be dope.
That would be great.
To really show us some artwork and and talk more about where the story was going, and hopefully that there'll be a volume 2 coming right after that, because I know there's going to be a big hit.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Now, we're not hoping, we're making it happen. We're manifesting, Lilah. All right? Let's go. And with that, folks, you know what it is. Thanks for everybody for tuned in to the New Comic Crusaders podcast. Follow the family, and of course, follow Lilah. We love you over here. You know what it is. Support indie all the way. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Wepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.